अथ तृतीयोऽध्याय कर्मयोग चैप्टर 3 कर्मयोग पार्ट 2 तस्मादसक्तः सक्त कार्यं कर्म समाचर असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म परमापनोति पुरुषः. Activities are unnecessary for one situated in Atma Tattva or soul realization, but all others must perform the prescribed injunctions of the Vedic scriptures according to qualification. This is compulsory. Furthermore, Lord Krishna is stating that one should be unattached but perform actions as duty requires. There are regular activities such as being vegetarian and fasting on Ekadashi, and there are occasional activities like offerings to one's ancestors once a year. But for all activities one must remain unattached, so one attains spiritual insights which purifies the mind, leading to the highest attainment of moksha or liberation from the cycle of birth and death. कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिमा स्थिता जनकाद्यः लोकसंग्रहमेवापि संपश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि. Here Lord Krishna follows the approved adage of citing previous historical examples such as King Janaka, the father of Sita, who was Rama's wife. King Janaka by prescribed Vedic activities purified his mind and consciousness and achieved perfection. But after becoming situated in or soul realization, still King Janaka performed prescribed Vedic activities for the purification of the world and felt bliss. So one should not think that after realization, it is not worthy to purify others for the welfare of all created beings, as it is still beneficial. Seeing such a great king as Janaka performing sacred actions, also became inspired to follow his example. To the contrary, those wallowing in material nature in the mode of ignorance fail to perform Vedic actions are ruined in this life and the next. यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठस्तत्तदेवेत्रो जनः यत्प्रमाण कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्ते. How the performance of prescribed Vedic actions acts as an incentive to the masses is what Lord Krishna is emphasizing here. That line of reasoning that great personalities accept as authoritative people will also follow. नमे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यम त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन नानवाप्तम वाप्तव्यम वर्त एवच कर्मणि. In this regard, Lord Krishna is using himself as an example, citing that fact that as the creator of all the worlds, he has nothing to gain as he controls everything, and yet he still performs his transcendental pastimes completely in line with the Vedic scriptures to benefit the welfare of all beings and the world. यदि ह्यहन् वर्तेयं जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्तमानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः. This verse continues the theme of the previous verse, that if Lord Krishna did not perform prescribed Vedic actions with vigilance and attention when the need arose, then lesser great personalities would follow his example and it would bring ruin to the world. उत्सीदेयुरि मे लोकान् कुर्या कर्म चेदहम् स्करस्य च कर्ता स्यामुपहन्यामिमाः प्रजाः. What would happen then? Lord Krishna states that the world would degenerate and decay due to the absence of prescribed Vedic activities, and that he would be the cause of the pollution of traditional values of the masses and the destruction of society. सक्ताः कर्मण्य विद्वांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद् विद्वांस तथा सक्तश्चिकीर्षुर्लोक संग्रहम्. In this verse, the topic of the previous two verses is being concluded with Lord Krishna confirming that those great souls who have attained Atma Tattva or soul realization should perform prescribed Vedic actions for the benefit of the world out of compassion. As the ignorant perform actions being towards contrarily, one situated in Atma Tattva should unattached perform Vedic activities solely for the welfare of the world. बुद्धिभेद जने ज्ञाना कर्मसंगिना जोषेत सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्. It may be put forth that if one feels compassion for the ignorant, one should give them knowledge of Atma Tattva or soul realization, which is the highest. Lord Krishna neutralizes this argument by stating na violate tan, meaning on should not try to impart knowledge to them. They be influenced to refrain from performing their duties by superior instructions about the Atma or soul that they are not qualified to understand. The spiritually wise in Vedic knowledge should inspire the ignorant to perform their duties with attentiveness and care. If the minds of the disturbed and unsettled, then they may lose faith in working altogether, and with actions stopped and knowledge not rising, the ignorant would lose out in both ways. प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहकार विमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते. An argument may be put forth that if the person situated in knowledge of the Vedas also has to perform actions, then what is the difference between the ignorant and the wise? Lord Krishna, apprehending such a doubt, explains the difference between the two in this verse and the next. All actions by Prakriti or material nature through the gunas, being the three modes of Sattva or goodness, Rajas or passion, and Tamas or nescience, and these are experienced by the mind when the senses make contact with sense objects. Thus the ignorant person believes that they are the doer of the act. The false ego has accepted the physical body as the self, and deluded by this egoism has superimposed the senses over the self in illusion. Tattvavittu mahabaho gunkarma vibhagyo Guna guneshu vartant iti matvan sajjate. Lord Krishna is explaining that the person situated in Vedic wisdom knows that the Atma or soul is not the same as the physical body and the senses. Such a person knows the distinction between the two and realizes the actions performed are not of the Atma, and knowing they are only the temporary of Prakriti or material nature, does not become attached to the actions or their results. Such a person comprehends that the senses reside in the mind and are transferred to the sense objects by thought impulses and are connected to the Atma. Prakruter gun sammudha sajjante gun karmasu. Tan krutas navido mandan krutas navinna vichale. When Lord Krishna states that one should not disturb the minds, he is referring to the ignorant, all those who are still deluded by Prakriti or the material nature, and the three gunas or the modes of Sattva or goodness, Rajas or passion, and Tamas or nescience. One who is wisdom of Vedic knowledge should not unbalance the equilibrium of the ignorant who, although attached to the results of actions, are at least doing their daily duties. Mayi sarvani karmani sannyasyaadhyatmacetasa. Nirashir nirmo bhutva yudhyasva vigatazvara. So it has been shown that even those in Jnana Yoga or the cultivating of spiritual knowledge should perform prescribed Vedic activities. But as for Arjuna, who was not situated in Jnana Yoga and had not achieved Atma Tattva or soul realization, the only alternative for form actions in Karma Yoga or activities prescribed in the Vedic scriptures according to qualification. The word sannyasa means renounce. What is to be renounced? Lord Krishna is explaining to Arjuna to renounce all actions for himself and instead to dedicate as yagna or worship as an offering to the Supreme Lord. One should try to be guided by the Lord in every action they perform. One should think that they are being guided by the Supreme Lord at all times. Relinquishing both desire and attachment, and thereby being ego conceptions of I-ness or minus and any conceptions of ownership, one should cheerfully perform all actions for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. In this way, Lord Krishna is instructing Arjuna to free himself from delusion and to fight banishing all lamentation. Ye me matamida nityam nutishtanti manava. Shraddhavanto nasuyanto muchante tepi karmabhya. The advantage of performing prescribed Vedic activities is being stated by Lord Krishna. Those situated in karma yoga or performing prescribed Vedic actions that have faith in the pristine teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and perform these instructions in their daily lives, without teachings by thinking that they are incorrect and unnecessary, will also gradually be freed from all reactions which cause bondage in the material worlds, the same as the person situated in Jnana Yoga or the cultivation of spiritual knowledge. ये त्वेभ्य सूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मत सर्वज्ञान विमूढ़ांस्तान विद्धि नष्टांचेतसः. Now Lord Krishna gives the defects in not believing and following prescribed Vedic activities. Those who are inimical to the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and are antagonistic to the injunction of the Vedas that all activities should be performed in yajna or worship for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Such people should be known as fools and lacking in discrimination, and all of their activities contrary to this are doomed to failure. सदृश चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृते ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृति यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति. It may be submitted that if follow the teachings of Bhagavad Gita yields so much, why isn't everyone following their prescribed duties, free from desires and attachment? Lord Krishna answers that even a person of Vedic wisdom acts according to the nature received from samskara or from past life actions. One always follows without fail their own disposition and nature. So it goes without saying that an ignorant person is even more dominated by their nature and will act ignorantly in all matters. So understanding in this restraint of the senses accomplished with Prakriti or material nature being so powerful. This is the meaning. Indriyasyendriyasyarthe ragadveshu vyavasthita tayorn vashmagacchettau hyasya paripanthinau. The senses are constantly being motivated by the force of attraction and aversion. Although Lord Krishna is emphasizing the effect of restraining the senses is known to be temporary only, still by his mentioning it opens the possibility that restraint may have an influence in dampening desires in regularly with determination, and it might develop a lasting effect. Of course, samskaras or past life impressions have a deep-rooted influence on all living entities, even in the case of Brahma and others, but there is still the possibility to modify the situation by means of the senses in a regulated manner. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha pardharmat swanushthita swadharme nidhana shreyah pardharmo bhayavah. In this verse, Lord Krishna is emphasizing the fact that one should perform the duties one is authorized to do according to one's station and rank in society. Arjuna was a royal prince, educated and trained by the strength of his might to uphold and protect dharma or righteousness or enact terrible suffering. It was necessary and was appropriate for Arjuna to engage in it. Arjun uvac ath ken prayuktoyam papacharti purusha Anichhannapi varshane baladiv niyojita. Lord Krishna has stated in verse 34 that one should not come under the influence of attraction and aversion. Arjuna, considering this to be impossible, poses this question, as it is seen that a person who is able to restrain and control their senses through discrimination can end back to committing sinful activities. So Arjuna is inquiring is about the main cause for such flagrant inconsistency in people. Shri Bhagavan uvac Kam esh krodh esh rajogun samudbhava Mahashnau mahapapama vidhenmih vairina. The influence which is the most powerful and destructive on human beings is kama or lust, followed by krodha or anger, which arises from frustrated desires. Those who hypothesis contrarily are not cognizant of the subtle difference involved in the mixture of the two. They be understood that without desire there is no opportunity for anger to manifest, and indeed it does not. Since there are many causes of anger, it is called Mahashana or Great Devourer. Since anger becomes the cause of committing abominable actions, it is called Mahapapmar, and because it is counterproductive to all human goals of righteousness, it is called Mahavari or great adversary. Dhumena varyate vahaniryatha darsho malens. Yatholbena vauto garbhastatha tenedma vauta. The inimical nature of kama or lust is being illustrated here by Lord Krishna, giving 3 clear examples, concluding that spiritual knowledge is completely covered by kama as well. Avarutan jnanmete jnanino nitya vairina. Kamrupen kaunte dushpurenan lens. Now the inimical nature of kama or lust is being made even more explicit by Lord Krishna. It is the discriminative faculty of knowledge that is covered by kama. To the ignorant, while enjoying sense objects, kama itself is the cause of pleasure, but the subsequent reaction will be. To the person situated in Vedic wisdom who understands that they will receive a subsequent reaction, then kama is a cause of pain even while trying to enjoy. Therefore kama is understood to be an eternal enemy. Moreover, even if supplied with delightful sense object, it is never enough because kama is insatiable, and when it is not satisfied, kama turns to krodha or anger, and that leads to grief and affliction, just like a forest fire burning everything in its path. So from these statements, its eternal inimical nature towards all beings has been declared. Indriyani mano buddhirsya muchate. Etairvimohyatesh jnanma varutya dehina. By revealing the locations of where kama or lust is stationed, Lord Krishna is indicating the means to defeat kama. As desire arises from contact with sense objects by seeing, hearing, touching, etc., the mind is agitated and a determined effort to enjoy arises, and itself from within the mind, completely overpowering the intellect and the discriminatory faculties, and a person is controlled and deluded, forced to be a slave of their sense. Tasmat dhavmindriyanyadav niyamya bharatarshab. Papmana prajahi yena jnanvidnyanashana. Now Lord Krishna gives the antidote to avoid being controlled by kama or lust. For the novice practitioner, the advice is to immediately by strength of mind control the sense in the very beginning before being deluded. For one more advanced knowledge of Vedic scriptures can assist evading being controlled by kama. For one even more advanced knowledge of the Atma or soul, and one's true position can protect one from the ravages of kama. Or it can also denote accepting a spiritual master who is transcendent to kama and receiving relevant instruction oneself or by means of meditation on the Supreme Lord. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 4.4.21 it states, the intelligent aspirant's understanding should achieve intuitive knowledge. Indriyani paranya hurindriyebhyah paramana. Mansastu para buddhiryo buddheha paratastu saha. Lord Krishna explains the priority of the faculty Sayuro trademark symbol humans possess, starting from the physical body to the senses to the mind to the intellect to the Atma or soul. The senses are superior to the physical body because if the senses are agitated, they will transfer this agitation to the physical. Knowledge will not arise in the mind. The mind is superior to the senses and can stop them, but if the mind is intent on sense gratification, then knowledge will not arise. The intellect is superior to the senses and the mind, but if the senses are passive and the mind is, then if the intellect decides contrary and is inclined to enjoy, it will overrule the senses and the mind and directs them both to pursue pleasure. So knowledge will not arise there as well, but when the senses are withdrawn from the sense objects, this impulse subsides. So powerful than the intellect. We see that it is kama or lust that is greater. All these things happen in regard to physical activity. The mind becomes clouded and the intellect is obscured by kama and reflects and contemplates actions that will gratify the senses, veiling the Atma. This confirms that karma is the greatest enemy of the human being because it obscures knowledge of the eternal Atma or soul. एवं बुद्धेः परबुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मात्मना जहि शत्रुन महाबाहो कामरूप दुरासदम. Now this topic is being concluded. Modifications such as desire, which is instigated by the senses and agitates the body, and lust, which is inflamed by the sense objects and overpowers the mind, are both only operating under the intellect. But the Atma or soul is modification and is the witness to all these changes. Thus, realizing the Atma, which is transcendental to all these, one should control the sense by the Atma, steer the mind by the Atma, and direct the intellect by the Atma. Although karma or lust is extremely difficult to conquer, and a powerful activity with firm conviction and determination, one must completely terminate and eradicate this most pernicious enemy in the form of karma and free oneself from the ravages of delusion. Worshipping the spiritual masters in disciplic succession, whom with devotion through the performance of Vedic activities have attained moksha or liberation, and have attested that the eternally blissful Supreme Lord Krishna, the originator of all, should be propitiated through all activities. Thus ends the commentaries to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3.